Creating Active Directory accounts is something you're going to do almost every day as an Active Directory Windows Server 2012 administrator. Now, the way we create these accounts, and we'll talk about user accounts in this video, we're going to use the Active Directory Users and Computers tool. Best way to do this is with a demo. So I'm just going to switch out to it because I already had it open. Now keep in mind, you can go to Server Manager and open this. I've shown you a couple of ways. If not, just go find it. It'll be a great learning opportunity, okay? To create a user here, you'll notice there is a users container, and I can also expand my domain over here, and I can see the users folder. And you have all these users that are built in. This is one I added on installation. Here's one I added later. But notice to add a user, I just right-click, choose New, and choose User, and it's going to ask me for her first name, okay? Jane Jones, that's a nice original name, and we'll just call J Jones is the login, okay? Then I'll click Next, and we'll give her a password. Now notice we start getting these options. User must change password next logon. They can't change the password. The password never expires, and so forth. So let me give her a password and then hit Next. And so it's telling me that there's the name and the user must change it to the next logon, and I will click Finish and we're done. Now you saw a couple of options there, but what I really want to go over with you in this video are the various options that you're going to see out there and the things that you should be familiar with when you're creating various things in Active Directory. Now we just saw one right there. User must change password at next logon. Obviously, this forces the user to change their password when they first use their account and they log on, because I'm going to tell her what password I put on there. Now, this will ensure that the user will be the only person who knows their password. Very important. The next option, user cannot change password, prevents the user from changing the password. When would you use this? To maintain control over a user account like a guest or a temporary account, those things where you don't want those users messing with that account password. You want to change that yourself. Password never expires. You'll use this on service accounts, and you want to make sure you use a strong password. The option store passwords using reversible encryption. This is one you don't hear about much. Watch for these things on the exam. The store passwords using reversible encryption allows a user to log on to a Windows network from an Apple computer. So if your users aren't doing this, don't use this option. You are weakening security a little bit, but if you've got users who are logging in from Apple computers, you'll probably have to turn this on. Account is disabled. The account can't be used to log on to the network. The account's valid. It's out there. All you have to do is enable it and it starts working, but disabled means that not there. Now, usually we will use this to create user account templates, which we'll talk about later on in the course in a separate video. Then, Smart Card is required for interactive logon. This requires the user to possess a smart card reader attached to their computer and configured properly, and a valid personal identification number. Now, when this is selected, the password is automatically set to a random, complex value, and the password never expires is set. When you choose the account is trusted for delegation, it allows the service running under this account to perform operations on behalf of other user accounts on the network. And you'll get into impersonation and delegation and stuff, all kinds of places, especially in the web world. Now, the option account is sensitive and cannot be delegated simply allows control over the user account, again, such as for a guest or temporary account. You can use this option if the account can't be assigned for delegation by another account. In other words, no, you can't delegate with this one. You use it or you don't use it at all. And then use DES encryption types for this account. This supports the data encryption standard DES. I won't go any deeper than that right now. And do not require Kerberos pre-authentication. This provides support for alternative implementations of the Kerberos protocol. And because pre-authentication provides additional security, you want to be Very careful when you enable this option because you are technically lowering your security. So just be careful with those. Make sure you're familiar with those. These type things pop up on the exam and they can confuse you, but just go over this list a couple of times and you should be fine on the exam when it comes to these options on AD accounts.